Hello there everybody, this is Alex from Hardcore Guides, bringing my guide for God of War 2 on Titan difficulty. Today we are doing part 14, Auditorium of Lahkesis. This video right here, this episode, this part, not this particular section or area, but a later part, is actually considered, to me, at the very least, I don't know about what other people think about it, but I would guess a lot of people probably have the same problems that I have. And yes, without suspending too much here, or without building up too much suspense, this is, of course, the infamous and notorious translator section. I say infamous and notorious, but I'm not sure if that's actually true, but to me it is. So, yeah, we will be dealing with that later, but for now, we have a relatively nice and okay area to fight with. Not too bad of an arena. So just go for the riders. That's the first thing you need to focus on in this part, is just deal with them. Once again, I just grab them and throw them around. That's pretty much what I do. And if one happens to be on a Cyclops, well, just let him be on there for a while. If you can't find any other riders just hanging around, then yeah, go for the guy in the Cyclops, of course. But for the most part, don't worry about the Cyclops. He's mostly just secondary to this, if not even tertiary, mainly because you've got the fire-throwing guys, and then you have, of course, first is the riders, and then there's the fire-throwing guys. The riders are your first priority. At the very least, they should be, because if they start calling in more Cyclopses and stuff, that's a problem. That's something we really don't want. And again, it should take about 4 kills to get. Now, also, you saw in the beginning, and I know I had my, fade-in thing happening at the same time, but I did upgrade my blades to level 4. And I have Atlas Quake level 1. However, for those that should be forewarned, I'm going to be upgrading Atlas Quake to level 2 by the time I get to the translator fight. So, yeah. That part is going to be ridiculous, and that's going to have to take a lot of just trying to explain the best way I possibly can, because, to be fair, I'm not even really sure how to truly explain the translator fight and how I got it to really work. But I will do my best. I know the beginning part relatively well. It's just the actual fight where he's near the book that just kind of gets me stumped up. So, but I did figure out something, and I did beat it somehow, and that typically happens all the time. And I hate to be that guy that just doesn't really truly know the official way of doing it. I just know what I know. I guess you could consider it lucky, but even then. I wonder what a no damage run of this game would look like. That'd be insane if you could do that. No damage along with the translator not taking the damage. That'd be ridiculous. You have to be really good, or at least cheese the game in some way, shape, or form that I don't know about. Then again, I never really looked too hard into figuring these things out, so yeah, that could be possible. But yeah, by this point I have 2,000 orbs. I think it's only like a good couple of thousand, if not maybe like 1,500, just to upgrade Atlas to like level 2. And then after that, I think it's like 10,000. So, in all fairness, getting Atlas Quake upgraded to level 2 should be a priority by this point. Because Atlas Quake is going to serve the most amount of damage in just the best way possible. It's just going to give you exactly what you need. So after you take out the riders, whenever they're all finished and gone, that's when you want to start focusing on the other small fry, the fire-throwing enemies. And then once they're gone, then you can focus on the Cyclops. If you want to go for Cyclops eyes, that's on you. I don't care enough. I mean, I already got Platinum for the game. It's not a big deal. Even then, 100% back on the PS2, so it's like, I don't need them. I'm here to get you guys through the Titan mode. I'm not trying to brag or anything. It's not that hard. Like I said before, for those that are curious, that haven't seen it, I did explain another way of getting eyes, and by getting eyes, you can just go to the arena mode, and then from there you should be able to spawn Cyclopses and then get the eyes that way. And if you do happen to leave before you get all the eyes, I think it deletes all of them. I think you have to get them all again. Or you can do New Game Plus. I think you can do that. Or you can have the riders just infinitely spawn them. But if you were to get all the eyes in a singular playthrough, I'd recommend doing it like an easy or normal or something. I don't feel like Titan mode is the type of game, or I don't really feel like this is the type of mode that you really want to do that with. And even then, like, I mean, if you were to get more to spawn, you would get more orbs out of it, and you would be able to upgrade more often than I would have, but still. Which I still find is just insane that God of War 2 is the type of game that even when you go out of your way to find and maybe even get almost every single chest, if not fight every single enemy that normally spawns, you still don't seem to get enough to actually fully upgrade everything. So they really upped the ante on that. Coming in here, I make a slight mistake. I'm dumb, and I forgot how this area worked. I'm going to forewarn you guys right now that you don't need to get the chests right away. That's it. Yeah, see right there? Like, I hit the lever, and I'm like, oh, I got to get the chest first. You don't need to. You'll be okay. Because once you finish this room, all the gates are going to open. You don't need to get the chest as soon as the gate opens. You can wait until after you've finished the puzzle itself. So, the thing that makes this fight hard, though, unfortunately, happens to be the little damn moths that are flying around, or whatever these things are, these bugs. These bug-like creatures. Oh yeah, I forgot you can press L1 and X in air to do another type of gust attack thing. Medusa, or I mean Urael, that's one thing you could do. Or you could just, you know, fight them normally, rage mode, whatever the case. Essentially, what makes this part annoying is just the spikes. And what, for me personally, made this fight just a tad bit more tolerable was just using Urael. That was kind of the idea. Because there is still, I think I still left the health and magic chest outside because I didn't use magic. If you do use magic, that's fine. You can always just jump and grab them and throw them down because that does a decent bit of damage. But yeah, don't worry about chests. Mainly because like these guys are just going to get in your way. And, you know, again, don't worry because you will have the capability of coming back and grabbing it. But yeah, right there I got real close to dying because I got greedy. I wanted this little bastard dead, so that's just kind of my fault on that one. For those that are not familiar with the puzzle, you gotta wait until we get to this last opening here, which luckily they give you plenty of time to sit around and, you know, be able to actually do these things. But something to keep a note is if you happen to push this thing back before it actually fully opens, you will let go of it, but they still give you plenty of time to pull it back. And yeah, it's not a big deal. Not a really bad puzzle, not really like a super hard puzzle, but it's just more irritating because of the spikes. And the spikes are the main thing you want to avoid the most, especially the web shots too. Those things are irritating. But yeah, the spikes are the main thing you want to avoid because they do tend to do quite a bit of damage. The bugs themselves, not so much, but they're just irritating, and I think they might infinitely spawn too. If they don't, then I'm wrong, but that's just, you know, probably normal. But yeah, I did leave that chest outside, and, well, okay, never mind, you can't go get it. I forgot that you can't, so forget that I said anything about that magic chest outside. Forget about that. That was a blatant lie. Even in normal gameplay, I forgot about that too. But yeah, I ran back here to check if there's anything else. I was hoping that there was a magic chest somewhere. And I think there is. Yeah, there is. There's totally a magic. Yeah, there's one right here, too. I mean, fuck. So there's that. There's one literally, like, right before the translator section. And I would recommend you fill up on magic. Like, fully fill up on magic. I didn't. I was okay. But having that extra inch of cock and balls goes a long way. It truly does make a difference when you're sticking inside the cervix of God of War 2. That's a pretty nasty allegory, or damn it, hang on. Analogy. That's a pretty gross analogy to explain God of War 2 in a nutshell, but yeah, forget that. So next up, you know, slow down time. You can grab this chest. I believe it's a Gorgon. Ah, fucking A. I got juked again. God damn it. I'm gonna get one of them right. At this point, at some point, knowing the law of... Okay, I can't remember which one it was. The law of averages, that's what it was. Eventually, one of them will be right. Eventually, one of them will be a Gorgon. I'm gonna laugh when like the rest of the game is just nothing but feathers. Just to prove me wrong, it's like, ah, fuck you. So yeah, this part actually is pretty hard by itself, just because you you have to know how high you have to go. And what I do in that part is I just roll and then hit the square button while I'm rolling to kind of give myself a bit of that lag ending boost or whatever, I guess you could say. Like, if you pretty much just stop yourself from having to have ending lag on your roll. But those are not aware of that, of course. And yeah, you want to fly into it like at the highest peak of all Olympus. That's kind of the thing you want to go for. And not only that, but you kind of want to hug the wall just a tad bit. You don't want to like be right on it, but you definitely want to be kind of near the wall while you're flying toward it. That way you can, you know, cut some of those corners and stuff. So you'll figure it out. It's an annoying platform section, but for the most part, it's probably the worst platforming section in the game. But even then, still, it's not incredibly too demanding. But yeah, I would say waste these chests. Like, who cares about health magic getting later? Who gives a shit? At this point in time, having full magic is probably what I would consider more, you know, more better. I don't know how to word that properly. Yeah, I don't know. If people are wondering why I keep pausing when I'm talking, it's because I was drinking G Fuel, and it's trying to come back up, and I'm trying not to be nasty, okay? I'm trying to not gross anybody out even with my analogies that are really probably nasty to some people, but I'm not trying to you know, pull any weird noises or anything on recording, because that'd be unfortunate. So this translator part, alright, let's just go. Guide time. So, first and foremost, I put the block in front of the translator, and I don't put it on the button straight away. I put it in front of him, and then I put it back down. But basically, I'm trying to make it to where I have the translator, for this part, I put him right there, and the first few enemies I run up to, and I attack them straight on. These are the easiest enemies you're going to deal with, because first you have dogs, and you have these guys, these armored red enemies. We'll call them red, or whatever. I don't know what we'll call them, but we'll call them red armored enemies. So, the dogs are not that bad. None of them will spawn near the translator. They all kind of just spawn up here. But even then still, be on the lookout just in case one might slip by. And after you defeat all of them, you're going to want to position the block kind of like facing the middle, but like slightly on the button. Pretty much where I have it. Now, watch where I walk. You see the end of that little corner where that torch is at? Once you walk right there, the satyrs are going to spawn. Put the translator down as soon as you make it past the door. Take off the block, take the translator, and put him in the very back corner. And after you put him in the back corner, avoid the button. Avoid the button at all costs. And then, after you put the translator in the corner, push the block at least toward the middle, or at least closer to him. The idea is I'm trying to protect him from, of course, these enemies. If the enemies are getting in, which they're pretty much going to, start using parries. Because parries are going to help you knock away at least the satyrs. Funny enough, the satyrs are not even the worst part of this fight. They seem like they would be, but they're really not that troublesome. Especially with level 4 blades. And then after I take out all the satyrs and I take out the red enemies, which I think 3 satyrs spawn in this part, so at least 2 to 3. 3 to maybe 4. Once, you know, they spawn. Also, do not throw the red armored enemies in the next part. Do no, don't do it. Don't do it, because you could accidentally throw it at the translator and you could potentially get him killed. So, if the satyrs are giving you trouble, just, you know, grab them. But yeah, I have level 4 blades. I'm going to upgrade to Atlas Quake 2. Because I have, you know, plenty of orbs to do that with. And after that, you're pretty much free until the next phase of this fight, which is going to get very, very demanding and very, very hard. At least it's always been the toughest part to me, and it's always made God of War 2, at the very least, the damn near toughest of the God of War games in general. And yes, that's even beating out God of War, you know, 4, and maybe potentially Ragnarok. I haven't gone through giving God of War too far yet. I've started a little bit, but not too much. So, Once he lets go, I'm going to run up to this first dog, this one on the left, because I think he's the one that spawns in second. And after that, I get lucky where I think I kick him toward the spawn guy. So we have spawners. Now, I'm going to run up to the translator, and I'm going to get at least close enough to where I can hit almost all the enemies in front of the podium right there. After that, run to the far left next to this door. If you see those spawners, go for them. If you see any enemies running toward the translator, Atlas Quake toward them. You want to have Atlas Quake 2 for this, because it does extra damage. And not only that, but you get these extra little rocks, and it just makes it much more easier to deal with. Now, granted, I think you can stop the Atlas Quake early. You don't have to do the actual slam. If you hit the button once and let go of it, not continuously mash it, which even then, like, you can't technically mash it right now anyway, because there's an upgrade for that later, but there is a way where you can kind of end the Atlas Quake earlier, and that's just basically just letting go of the button, or just tapping it just the one time. Because it always seems like that works, I'm not sure. But yeah, this fight is essentially the translator himself. He's what I would consider, he's a double key lock, as in, like, you need 2 keys to finish that fight. The first key being the translator. He can't die, of course. That's the important part. And the second part is, you know, dealing with the spawners, and of course dealing with all the other enemies, and just having Atlas Quake level 2 is the second key to that. So that's how you win that. So hopefully that made sense. Hope you guys enjoyed. See y'all next time.